Good afternoon. My name is Philip Havens, Public Information Officer for Caltrans District 8, serving San Bernardino and Riverside counties. The purpose of gathering here today is to alert motorists to the next traffic reconfiguration for the I-15 Cajon Pass project, which will take place on the northbound I-15 between Kenwood and Route 138. A 5-mile stretch will have managed lanes or crossover lanes. The northbound 15 traffic will be diverted to southbound 15 using the quick change movable barrier QCMB beginning this Friday. One lane will be available Friday, April 10th, and a second lane in place Monday, April 27th. 3 lanes will be available to traffic in peak directions of travel with 2 lanes in the opposite direction. These will switch twice a day before commute hours. Trucks, buses, and recreational vehicles are urged to stay in the right and not use the crossover lanes. It is imperative that motorists maintain awareness of the traffic configuration, reduce their speed, and pay close attention to signage and other motorists. We are aware that this is a heavily traveled highway for commuters, the trucking industry, and for recreation. We would like to thank the traveling public for their cooperation during the work to restore the pavement. Caltrans reminds motorists that the speed limit has been reduced to 60 miles per hour in the Cajon Pass, and the additional CHP enforcement is present within the double fine zone. Here now is the project manager for Kaufman-Parsons joint venture, Gus Rios, to explain the crossover lanes in a little more detail.
Hi, I'm Gus Rios with Kaufman-Parsons joint venture, the contractor out here in the Cajon Pass design build project. What we're going to be implementing this week to begin with is a single lane crossover, and then in another 2 to 3 weeks towards the end of the month we'll be implementing the 2-lane crossover with the managed flow lanes. Here's a picture of what that's going to look like in a nutshell. What will happen is northbound traffic during this what we call a crossover, 1 or 2 lanes will actually cross over the median onto the southbound roadbed, and the northbound and southbound traffic will be separated by a concrete barrier, which is we call it a movable barrier. The crossover we're putting in is approximately 5 miles long and will run from south of Cleghorn Creek to just north, about 1.5 miles north of Highway 138. For the next 2 weeks, as mentioned, we're going to be in a single lane crossover, and there will be 4 lanes of traffic available to both directions. So we're going to have, with the single lane crossover, all lanes will still be available. One will just be crossed over onto the southbound roadbed. After the second lane crossover is in place, we'll begin what we call the managed flow, utilizing the QCMB, which is the quick change movable barrier machine. So if you look back over here on this picture, that actually shows 2 and 2 in the northbound direction. We have a machine that will move that barrier over to the left, and during non-peak hours northbound will be reduced to 3 lanes so that we can allow for 4 lanes southbound during peak hours, and vice versa. When northbound peak hour needs 4 lanes, we'll move the barrier again to allow 4 lanes of traffic northbound, which will limit the southbound traffic to 3 lanes. Throughout the crossover, southbound and northbound mainline roadbeds will maintain an 8 to 10 foot shoulder on the outside. Inside the crossover, there will be no shoulder. There are some areas to pull out in case of emergency, but there are some areas where they will be limited in shoulder. If you think you need a shoulder to pull out on, we ask that you stay on the main line travel lanes, so in the right 2 lanes. Also, in the crossover, there is no access to Highway 138. So if you need to exit on either Cleghorn or Highway 138, you need to stay on the main line roadbed. Again, this is just in the northbound direction. Southbound, all the lanes will be there, with the exception of we'll either take away 1 lane or give back 1 lane, but there will be no split or crossover southbound at this point. It's only northbound. One of the big things we want to put out there is just to please slow down. Posted speed limit 60 miles per hour. We will be moving the lanes during traffic hours. So in the middle of the night, probably early morning, we'll be opening up lanes, 4 lanes southbound, and then late in the afternoon, we'll be opening up lanes for the northbound. So that machine will be out there moving the lanes during the day, and if you see that, we just ask to just keep in mind that there are people out there operating that. That's it.
Thank you, Gus. Safety is the #1 topic here today. Here with us is Officer Brian Alvarez with the California Highway Patrol. He's going to provide us with some of the safety information that all the motorists need to hear.
I think you stole my notes. Gus will also be doing the safety portion of the press conference. Good afternoon, I'm Officer Brian Alvarez with the California Highway Patrol, and I'm here to give some safety tips while driving through the Cajon Pass during this paving project. We want to remind motorists of a few things. As Gus stated, once you enter the crossover lane, you will not be able to exit the 138 to get to access the 138 once you're in that crossover lane going northbound. We want to remind motorists of that point. We're urging that commercial vehicles, buses, recreational vehicles, and vehicles pulling trailers not to use the crossover lanes, to stay on the main line. We also want to remind motorists that Freeway Services Patrol will be assisting stranded motorists through the Cajon Pass, and they will be working. The speed limit is 60 miles per hour through the Cajon Pass and 45 miles an hour for commercial vehicles. The California Highway Patrol will be out enforcing the posted speed limit, ensuring that the workers out there will be safe. And lastly, we're asking that you plan ahead and give yourself ample time while traveling through the Cajon Pass and expect some minor delays. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. This concludes our press conference.